Tanking is one of the most complex things you can do in Dawn of Isles, so it's crucial that you follow this guide so that you know how to do everything the best. Greetings and salutations, killers. Welcome back. Thank you for joining me. Tanking in Dawn of Isles is the fighter's primary party purpose. Wow, party purpose. And so with that, I'm going to go ahead and tell you all the experience I've gained from getting multiple people killed by following terrible practices with tanking. Maybe that intro needs a little bit of work. So what I got for you is a full tanking guide. We're going to be talking about pets, skills, how to assign your attribute points, but the most important thing to know about tanking is how to position yourself. So I'm going to be showing you examples of what not to do and what to do. And I am so sorry if you're in the video of what not to do. I wasn't trying to kill you, but I'm sorry. So the biggest thing about positioning yourself in a fight is being first. If you let everybody else run ahead of you, they're going to get hit by the full brunt of everything that's going on, and they can't handle that. Everybody is squishy in this game except for the tank. Everybody is squishy except for the tank. Remember that. Go charging in there first. That means you have to know the boards. Now, I'm not going to be actually talking about specifically how to run any of the dungeons. That's a completely different video. But it's on you to know where the heck you're going, where you need to be for all the different fights. Sometimes for a boss fight, it's important to put yourself up against a wall so that you could go ahead and get bounced and not be thrown away really far. Sometimes it's important to be able to drag and kite enemies in a certain position. You have to know where this is going to happen so that you can effectively tank and save your party. When you start to engage an enemy, don't just go up there like Avenger style, all front-faced and just fight everybody. You need to get behind the enemy. You do this by dodging around them, by walking around them, by blatantly walking past them when you first walk into a room and summon everybody over to you with your skills and your attacks. That is what you need to do. If you don't do that, then basically you're just saying, hey guys, I'm going to take the majority of the hits, but any special attacks that come out there are your problem, and if I accidentally lose aggro, they're that much closer to you guys, so, you know, I'm sorry about your hit points. And lastly, for goodness sake, dodge these specials, okay? Whenever you see that zone appear, just dodge it. Dodge, roll out of the way, and go back. If you are autoing, which you don't really always want to auto, but I'm old and have slow reflexes, so I always have auto on. Whenever you're doing this, that sometimes means that you're going to be in the middle of an attack, and you've already used the dodge roll, and you can't just run out of the way, but if you aren't autoing, you can actually just interrupt your attacks a lot quicker. It's what I would recommend to you if you're on the ball, but for the most part, that sort of leads me into something else very important here. Come back to me. Thank you. Don't auto and follow, okay? That goes against everything I've just said, okay? You're not getting behind the enemy. You're not leading. You're sure as heck not leading if that's what you're doing. And you can't just dodge out of the way of the hits. It's very important that you do this stuff if you want to be an effective tank. If you're trying to push for content that is like just on the cusp of where you should be, you need to do this stuff. If you want to actually have a low-level person come up with you, you have to do this stuff. You might be able to just auto and not care if you're phoning it in and you're doing some weak content, okay? But if you're actually playing the game, if you're on top of the game, you need to do this stuff. So don't just auto and follow through a dungeon, okay? Thank you. Now, next we're going to be talking about stats and gear. This is sort of easy because for the most part, there's only a couple things to remember. One is, who cares about strength? Yeah, I know it increases armor, but not by that much. Who cares about strength? You're not going to be dealing the damage that you would think you would just by increasing your strength a bit. It's not worth it. Don't do it. So, what do you do instead of strength? Yeah, what do you roll for instead of strength on your gear? Well, as far as allocating your stats go, just going for stamina is fine. I mean, it's going to raise your resistance and your hit points quite a lot, which is very, very valuable. You could also go with the recommendation on stats allocation. That's fine. As far as other things go, you could also try an all dex build where you have a lot of dex that'll give you armor, which is really nice. It gives you more armor than strength. And then you also have the crit that's being increased. Unfortunately, I don't have damage formulas, so I can't tell you how viable this is. Theoretically, it's okay. I mean, other classes are doing it just fine, so I mean, you should be okay. Take that one with a grain of salt. Also, it might be actually really nice if you want to have a tank that goes into PvP, so that's another option for you. Lastly, we're going to be taking a look at skills and pets, and you know what, instead of any face cam, let's just zoom in onto the phone, and let me show you what I mean, what's going on here. So here's the first set of tanky skills I want to recommend to you. The idea of this set is that it's very flexible and you're pretty darn resistant to things when it comes down to it. Ancient Shield is here as your taunt. Now here's the deal. Whenever you use something like Wind Hurl and even a Shield Counter, which I'll talk more about in a moment, you're going to be able to keep up enough aggro after that initial taunt that you don't have to keep using this. However, you may want to, because I mean it adds to your armor and resistance, but more importantly, there's going to be some times that you're going to want to be able to impromptu trigger aggro, whether that's transitioning from one fight into another, or even in certain fights, sometimes mobs spawn right in the middle of it. And guess what? They're not going to attack you. They're going to go for the squishy people. And if you're not a tank, you're squishy. So you could go ahead and keep Ancient Shield available so that you could do that. Then, of course, like I said, Wind Hurl is here mostly just as a quick way to be able to continually deal damage. The pulling enemies closer thing is just sort of icing on the cake. Now, Shield Counter we need to talk about. It's going to go ahead and give you a nice buff on your defense for a little bit, and then you can use it a second time, and basically you get a portion of the damage that you received, and you throw it back at the enemy plus a little bit more. Now, here's the deal. If you're going to use this, and if you're going to use auto battle, which, like I said, I'm old and slow, and I can't keep up, you're going to have to turn off Shield Counter in your configuration settings right there. Auto battle, tap Shield Counter, make sure it's not enabled. This means the auto battle is not going to use it, because otherwise auto battle is going to go ahead and trigger it. You're going to get like a half a second of extra defense, and then it's going to throw the darn shield. It's stupid. It's not going to go well for you. So this is my primary setup that I go into most tanking experiences with. However, I have played around with quite a few others. Let me show you a couple other ones that I really like. As a matter of fact, one quick adjustment on something like this is to just switch out Wind Asylum for Shield Counter. If you don't want to deal with that, this is a little more auto-friendly, which you shouldn't be doing, so that's not really a consideration in this case. But it is nice that you are giving yourself a shield plus an ally that's low on hit points. It's not going to really save them, but it's going to give the healer enough time to be able to rally, or if you have a healing pet of your own, it's going to give them enough time to help them out. So this is a sort of a alternate version of my favorite setup right here. This is the last setup that I'm going to talk about skill-wise. It is really nice, and this is actually pretty good for PvP, and I will tell you why. We're keeping the Ancient Shield because, like I said, you have to keep that aggro, and it increases your armor and resistance, so it's not even a big waste in PvP. Go ahead and activate it, you get yourself a little bit tougher. Wind Hurl is here mainly because of it gains the Gale Bless, and this is pretty cool because now you can go ahead and use a Shattering Slash. What this does is it'll burn. Not only does it look cool, but it'll burn your Gale Blessing, and it'll throw out 3 tornadoes. These 3 tornadoes will interact with flasks well. Some flasks that you could try water, but honestly that's the weakest one in my opinion for this setup. Something for PvP though is lava. Oh my gosh, that lava flask is so great. You could go fire on a budget if you already have a bunch of those, but with the lava, you throw that down, you go ahead and smack into it with this, and you're throwing 3 lava tornadoes out there. It is going to hurt a lot of people, and it's so much fun. You can also use gas potions as well if that's sort of your thing, and those are going to go well with this particular combo too. It takes a little bit of skill to do, but you know what, if you're in PvP, they're going to be running away from you because you're a tank. And this is also a good time to maybe consider a deck setup if you want to go ahead and run something like this in the arenas. So now let's talk about pets. I'm going to go into the gallery here because several of mine are out on pit missions. So the first one I want to talk about, we'll start like low level and go higher. You know what, the Banana Monkey is nice. He's a good all-arounder. He has a couple of advantages, but really his biggest advantage is that he gets to turn into a Brutal Gorilla later on. I'll catch up with him in a moment. One pet that you're going to get early on, just in time for you to have Sword and Board, actually, is the Flame Beetle. And this guy's really nice. He has a couple of abilities here that are going to go ahead and boost your armor and resistance for a little bit. Not to mention, I mean, he could take a few hits for himself, and he's going to be dealing out a little bit more. He's a nice pet that you're going to get early on that actually goes well, whether you're using axe or sword and board, and that works out super well. This cute guy here, I mean, you're going to be having probably the Armor DX regardless, because that's the first pet that you just get in the game. So, I mean, going to an Armor Beast makes a lot of sense. I mean, he's going to be able to give you that boost to armor, and he's just all around meant to be a nice tank. Oh, he's so cute. He's just sitting there. He's going to be good for you tank types. This is really my favorite, the Sunshine Flower. She is very powerful. You don't have to always rely on the healer at that point in time. Not saying you don't need a healer with this, but honestly, I've been in a team a couple of times where we've had nothing but Sunshine Flowers, and we haven't had a healer, and it's worked out well. Not to mention you being able to just pop this in PvP to get an instant boost to health so you can run away to let some of your powers recharge is quite wonderful. I really like the Sunshine Flower, and it's what I recommend above all the other pets I'm buried to talk about even. However, taking a look at this, the Shield Octopus, get out of here, teammates. The Shield Octopus is really cool, especially if you're going with the deck setup. The reason why is because of this ability that you can use as the Pact skill. It's going to make him aggro for you, and everything else here is just helping him live through assaults, but the fact that you can make him taunt and pull everybody towards him instead of you is going to give you enough time to sort of catch a breather, get that heal up, and stuff like that. And like I said, if you're doing the decks, this might be a little bit better for you since you have a lot of hit points that you're sort of covering ground for. Some good, along with other good mid-tier stuff. The Thug Shark is okay, a little bit better for actions, but honestly, the main reason why is coming up here, which is the Witch Shark. Like I said, the Brutal Gorilla, once again, is a good all-arounder. It's good for both axe and sword and board, as is the Shadow Leopard. Not to mention the Shadow Leopard just looks super cool. So that's, you know, if you're styling, this is where you're going. But otherwise, both of these are good generalists. However, at the very top of the things, Witch Shark, the debuffs, the control, it's just too powerful. And of course the Terra Drake has some wonderful minor bits of control, lots of damage, a little bit of damage mitigation here and there, and his ancient form looks really baller, I think. So this pretty much makes it the top recommendation as far as I'm concerned. However, all of these pets are very viable, and like I said, I think I'm going to be sticking with my Sunshine Flower for a very, very long time. And do me a favor, if you're one of those tanks that really hates going DPS because you just think it's beneath you, I hate to give you some tough love, but get over yourself. Check out this video right here. It's going to tell you how to become a good DPSer without much effort, and you won't have to totally eschew your whole tankiness if you don't want to, which is great. My name is Deltran. Thank you guys so much. I greatly appreciate all of you. And until next time, take it easy.